It is July 1st, and that means it is almost time for the MLB draft. Here we're taking on the Houston Astros. We're 42-45 when we come away with a victory, 4-3. Griffin Canning, 5 innings of work, 2 earned run. Jose Suarez allowed a run as well. In the next game against the Astros, we win this one 5-4. Another close game, 3 hits for Mike Trout, 2 for Patrick Wisdom, and a pair of hits for Ward and Rengifo. Mike Trout with a home run, and Fernando Guillen, somebody who continuously plays well since getting the call up to the big league. 6 innings of work, 3 earned, and 5 strikeouts. As we're looking for the series sweep here against the Houston Astros, it's 3-2, bottom of the ninth with 1 out. We're going to hop in here. It is Nolan Schanuel batting .251 on the season. Brian Abreu on the mound here for the Astros. Here's Schanuel. Hit hard between first and second, and we are going to hold the runner at third. Runners on the corner with 1 away, as the Angels are looking to tie this game up here against our division rivals, the Houston Astros. It's Jo Adell, 2 for 3 on the day. He's been playing pretty well since getting the call up to the big league level as he strikes out on the slider. That's a pitch that you would like Jo Adell to hit right there. Mickey Moniak pinch hitting here. He's batting .265 on the season. Abreu, 18th pitches. He is going to watch ball 4. The bases are now loaded with 2 away, and it's Luis Rengifo to the plate. 1-0 count. He's 0 for 3 on the day. One of my favorite players on the team. It's a hanging breaking ball that Rengifo hits right to the first baseman. And the Astros are going to avoid the sweep as they pick up the victory. You know, we're trying to make a push here. We're hitting that midway point in the season. You got the draft coming up, the All-Star break, and the trade deadline. I don't know if we're going to make any moves at the deadline, but it's something that we maybe need to consider, you know, as we try to make a push for a playoff spot. 2 doubles in this game, Ohapi and Wisdom. Chase Silseth gives us 6 scoreless. It's Jose Suarez who comes in and struggles. Maybe it's spelling the end of his season at the big league level, or maybe he just needs a break. But I wanted to get a player lot game in with Reed Detmers here. He's down at the AAA level, and he has a 2.41 ERA so far since being sent down to AAA. Of course, we called Fernando Guillen up to make his big league debut. Reed Detmers on a mound here against the River Cats, as he is going to give up a double early on here in the bottom of the first as he has 2 away. Reed Detmers at the big league level before getting sent down to Salt Lake. He was 1-8 on the season. This was through 48 innings of work, a 9.19 ERA, 2.0 WAR, as this is going to be a Marco Luciano bloop single, as this one is going to score a run for the opponent, as it was a 2.0 whip, like I mentioned, a negative 1.1 WAR, a 5 base on balls per 9, a 3 home run per 9, and a 7.33 FIP. You know, this is somebody who I really do like as he picks up the strikeout there. I like him. He's a good lefty, you know, in your rotation. But when you're struggling the way he was, you know, early on this season, it was time to really see him go down to the AAA level and get some extra innings on the mound there, because he just wasn't getting the job done at the big league level. It kind of reminds me of like an Alek Manoah type of situation, as another strikeout for Detmers. That's 3 now on the game. You know, like I said, it reminds me of Alek Manoah. Had a really good pre-COVID season, or I should say pre-pitch clock season. And then once the pitch clock became a thing, he really started to struggle. And Reed Detmers is somebody who has a no-hitter in his career as he picks up another home run here. A strikeout here in the bottom of the 4th. And now he's just struggling, you know, with the ERA above 9 at the big league level. It's just kind of unfortunate. He's going to give up his 2nd earned run of the game here. So kind of struggling right now. And our look at him at Salt Lake. Sean Skinner, the center fielder, of course. But bottom 5 now for Detmers. Scored 2-1. Here's a 3-2 count to Brown, who is 1 for 1 on the day. 54 pitches in for Detmers, and this is going to be a pop out. Well, a long ball to left center field. The 3rd earned run for Reed Detmers. That is not a pop out. Maybe I'm getting my clips mixed up. Unfortunately, 3 earned for Reed Detmers in this game. I was expecting him to go out there and kind of give us, you know, 6 or 7 scoreless. That was what the hope was for me, at least. As now he's facing Bishop. This is going to be a nice slurve for a strikeout. Detmers, he's got a pretty solid breaking ball. The fastball is even pretty good as well. He just needs to get that confidence back in his pitches, as he's going to get Luciano swinging here in the 5th inning. It was a pretty good day for Detmers other than the 3 earned. I think he finished with 9 strikeouts in this game, as now he's facing Bryce Eldridge, as he's going to get him on the top, as Eldridge is going to keep the bat on his shoulders. As here's an 0-2 count, 2 away, 77 pitches in here for Reed Detmers. Score is 3-2. Like I said, 3 earned he gave up. as he's going to pick up another strikeout on the River Cats. It was 9 in total for Reed Detmers, as the River Cats finished with 7 hits in total. One of them was a long ball. We threw the fastball the most, then the slider, as our most effective pitch was the slurve and the slider, our breaking ball pitches. Our fastball gave up some hits, and then the circle change and the sweeping curve, I think is what that pitch is, was not very good. But like I said, 9 strikeouts in total, 2 on the slurve, 3 on the slider, and 4 on the fastball. Those other 2 pitches just are kind of useless, if you ask me. As now we're hopping into a game here against the Toronto Blue Jays. It's Logan O'Hoppe, our 8-hitter, 234 average. Score is 1-1 here in the bottom of the second. As O'Hoppe's going to hit this one down the line. It is a fair ball. Logan O'Hoppe is going to be credited with an RBI as he's going to try and slide in the second, and he is thrown out trying to extend a single into a double, as this is a player luck game with Logan O'Hoppe. Runners on first and second now. Ricky Tiedemann, the pitcher for the Blue Jays, as O'Hoppe's going to go down swinging on an ugly swing. Pretty good slider there by Tiedemann, but even then, that's not a pitch that I would have swung out. As Eric Swanson's on the mound now for the Toronto Blue Jays. Bottom 7 as O'Hoppe's going to go down swinging again on a pitch that was outside of the zone. The Blue Jays are going to take the lead here. It's bottom 9 now with 1 away, runner on first. Chad Green on the mound. What can O'Hoppe do for us? He had the RBI base hit earlier in the game, and he is going to actually ground out into a 6-4-3 double play to finish this game. The Blue Jays are going to win this one. And then looking at the rest of the stats here, only 5 total hits for us today. It was a home run for Patrick Wisdom, number 24 in the season. And John Means gives us 7 innings of work, 1 earned, 5 strikeouts, and it was Andrew Wantz who struggled mightily. Sean Skinner got the call up to the AAA level, and he's just not really performing at the moment. 222 average. We're seeing that contact versus lefties go down, unfortunately. So we're going to send him back down to the AA level. He's 21 years old. You know, my plan is to probably have him at the big league level next season to try and help out the squad. As we're going to get a player lock game with Luis Rengifo. We're 43 and 47. Rengifo, like I was mentioning earlier, he is one of my favorite players on this team. He hits lefties a lot better than he hits righties, but he can hit righties, as you're going to see it right here. The four-seam fastball is crushed to center field for a home run. Luis Rengifo will give us a 1-0 lead here against the Blue Jays. That's home run number 9 on the season. That one was hit 413 feet. He hits lefties a lot better than righties, but he can hit righties, and he's hitting righties at a very good pace this season. As, like I said, maybe he's somebody that we consider giving an extension to. I think it might be the right move. There's his attributes there against lefties. 93 contact, 71 power. So he can hit lefties quite well. As he's going to hit this one to left center field. This one's got carried, and this one is gone as well. Luis Rengifo with his second home run of the episode, as he is going to extend our lead. He's the one guy who's kind of doing it for us right now. His 10th home run on the season. That one a little bit shorter, 397 feet. As the fan says, Los Angeles loves Rengifo. I couldn't agree more. He's a player that I just think is fun to play with, and I think he's got so much versatility in the field. He's not a great defender, don't get me wrong. But the versatility, he's got position flexibility, and he can hit quite well. As he's going to hit this one down the line, this one should be a double unless he's thrown out like O'Hoppe was earlier. That's not going to be the case. It's 3 hits for Luis Rengifo, a total of 10 bases on the day, as that is going to extend our lead. That's the 23rd double for Rengifo on the season. As it's Mickey Moniak's turn at the plate. He hits this one. The second baseman can't make the play. Rengifo rounding third. Here's the throw to the plate, and he is safe, as it's going to be an 8-4 ball game here against the Toronto Blue Jays. Mickey Moniak with the RBI, as we will pick up the victory 5-8. That's a good victory to get there here at the beginning of July. We're in a position, I should say at least. We're in a position where we can actually make kind of a run. If we can get hot here in July, maybe we do pick up somebody through a trade potentially. As there was a lot of home runs in this game. 2 for Rengifo, Trout, O'Hoppe, and Wisdom, all with 1 as well. As Trout and Wisdom remain tied for the team leading home run. As Patrick Sandoval, 3 innings of work, 3 earned. He did not pitch well at all. And it is time for our final scouting session before the second draft of the series. After a 3-2 start to the month of July, it is time for our final scouting session, where we are going to find out who will be the newest additions to the Los Angeles Angels. There's a couple of guys that I'm going to go through here and show you who who I'm interested in. And starting out, we do have a starting pitcher that I'm interested in, and that's Thomas Morrison, an 80 to 90 potential. So he's going to be B potential. Highly doubt he's going to be 90. He's very well rounded at everything. 21 years old, so the range is going to be a lot tighter and a lot higher. 68 to 78 overall to start is amazing. He is number 1 on the MLB draft board, so he may not be available. We do pick at number 11, so that's exactly where we have him ranked. So he would be somebody that I would definitely be interested in drafting. We can stay with the starting pitchers here. Leandro Beltran, somebody who I would definitely be interested in taking in the second selection. He's got that 72 to 87 potential, so there's a chance it could even be C potential, but the overall could be pretty decent to start out. He's 18 years old. What I'm very interested in is the 74 to 89 strikeouts per 9, the 82 to 87 pitch velocity, and the 71 to 86 pitch break. That is some elite strikeout stuff right there, some elite stuff on a mound. He's somebody who would have to develop his hits per 9, his walks per 9, and the home runs per 9. But to start out, this guy is going to be known for getting strikeouts. I'm very interested in what Leandro Beltran could potentially bring to the table. Looking at first baseman Humberto Carmona, he's definitely a guy who's going to be hard to pass up with our first selection. He's not ranked on the MLB draft board. He's 9th on ours. We could try and hold off and draft him in the second, maybe third selection, but you risk somebody else taking him. You don't really know who knows who this guy is. 81 to 91 potential, probably going to be the B potential guy. 69 to 79 overall to start. So this guy's going to be very experienced, very ready to play. Pretty much in year 1, and he looks like a pure hitter. He struggles a little bit against power, against righties when it comes to the power aspect, but even then, that's some very good future numbers there. And even in the present, that's some pretty good numbers. Defensively, he can field pretty well, and he's got good reaction. The arm strength and accuracy not really there, so he would be, a second baseman more than likely. He can play right as well, and the speed's not really there, but he's going to be hard to pass up in the first round. Next guy is Woody McKenzie, somebody who I'm really not sure why he's fallen so far down on the board. We have him 70% scouted. That 69 to 90 overall potential is a very wide range. But when you look at the defense and the hitting, this guy looks elite. So I don't know why he continues to fall. And at 70% scouted, are these numbers really going to get that much worse? This guy looks, quite frankly, amazing at the plate and in the field. He could definitely play in the outfield with that arm strength. Somebody that I would be interested in taking in the later rounds if he is available. Dennis Brown's somebody who I can't wrap my head around. He's the most well-rounded player here in the draft, but he isn't elite at anything. He's above average in everything, but he's not really in that elite status. The contact looks like it could be really solid. The power could be there in the future, and then defensively, he could be pretty solid in the future. But at 18 years old, he's really going to have to hone in on those crafts and, maybe separate himself in at least one category. Maybe he's just a very good on-base guy or very good defender, or maybe he develops power. He's got to be able to develop something that becomes his number 1 attribute. Royce Lima from Venezuela has 81 to 86 potential, so B potential guy to start, and he's going to be at 70 to 75 overall to start. He did opt out of his doctor exam, so that's kind of risky. He could be somebody that maybe is injured, but at 22 years old, this guy's going to be ready to play almost instantly. He looks like he's going to be a very good contact hitter, and he's got elite level speed. This is a guy, when he gets on the base paths, is going to be stealing a lot of bags. Royce Lima, 18th on our board, not ranked on the MLB board. Somebody that I would definitely consider taking in potentially the second round or third round, but he's somebody that I am intrigued by. Could make an impact right away. Howard Mays is number 7 on our board, 18 on the MLB board, 77 to 98 potential. So this is a guy who we're going to stop scouting. We're not going to continue to, go through with the whole scouting, but 77 to 98 potential. He could be an A guy, and his overall could be pretty solid to start. Really good speed. Defense needs some work. So doesn't the power. The power is going to need some work as well. The vision discipline is, going to need the same help. So Howard Mays has really good potential. The power could be there in the future, but more than likely not. He's going to be a contact first guy who is really fast when he gets on the base paths. If you want to take a blue chip prospect, I think Howard Mays is the definition of that. Josh Donovan is the next guy, really known for his power and his speed, but other than that, not known for anything else. The contact looks like it's weak, the vision and discipline as well. The fielding doesn't even look good. It's the speed and power. Other than that, the guy's a pretty below average to average player in every other statistical category. Christopher Machado, somebody that we're going to try and learn a little bit more about. Another one of those power speed guys. The contact's not really there. The vision and discipline as well. The fielding is a little bit better though for Christopher Machado. Plays right field, can play left as well. The speed looks solid. We're going to see if we can't learn anything else about him. Lance Ornelas, I just wanted to look at this guy on a hunch. The power's not really there, but we also don't know anything about this guy. 22 years old, 78 to 92 potential, 60 to 74 overall speed, contact type of player, but he's a shortstop, and they're kind of hard to come by here in the drafts, I feel like. And then the last guy I want to look at is Horacio Walker, somebody who I didn't know existed until I was looking at, these players the other day, and I learned this guy looks really good. Hits left, 18 years old, contact is there, power could be there in the future. The vision looks really good, discipline's really good. I mean, and the fielding and speed looks amazing as well. Obviously, we still have to scout this guy, but based off what I see here, this could be somebody who I think about drafting in potentially the first round if he goes up. But that is everybody that I'm pretty interested in there, everybody that I could see myself taking in the draft. Now the only thing we have to do is get through the next 6 days, and then we can begin the draft. First, we're going to try and wrap up this series and get the victory here against the Blue Jays. Nobody out. Mike Trout to the plate here in the bottom of the ninth. Here is Mike Trout, who's off to an MVP start to this season. And at this point, he's just having an MVP level season. It's not even the start of the season anymore. We're at the halfway point. He's 2 for 10 in the series with a home run. Can he make it 2 home runs in the series as we have a runner on first with nobody away here against the Blue Jays, as Trout's going to chop this one on the ground to the third baseman, and Trout is going to reach on a chopper that went 60 miles per hour off the bat. So now runners on first and second now with nobody away. That's just an unlucky, event for the Blue Jays there. And as a matter of fact, I feel like the third baseman should have let it bounce a little bit more and go foul. Instead, he tried to make a play that wasn't even there. As now Patrick Wisdom comes to the plate. He's an even more dangerous hitter at the plate this season, as he has been killing the ball. Here's the pitch as he watches the curveball miss. 2 home runs in the series for Wisdom. He's 1 for 3 on the day with a double. If anybody's going to hit a walk-off home run, it's Patrick Wisdom as he fouls back the 4-seam. Here's the 1-1 from Chad Green as Wisdom swings through the 2-seam fastball. Had he connected on that one, I think it could have been gone. It was good swing timing. He just missed it. And here in this situation, maybe you would think about bunting the runners over. And instead, we're going to be able to advance on a wild pitch so you don't even have to bunt. Wisdom is a base knock away from walking this game off now. As here's the 2-2 from Chad Green. Wisdom's going to hit this one on the ground. This one will score Nolan Shanuel, and it'll advance Mike Trout to third. So Patrick Wisdom does his job, ties the game up here as it's Mickey Moniak's turn. The lefty hits righties very well. He's 0 for 3 on the day. 2 for 8 on the series with an RBI. Looking for the biggest RBI of the series right here. Infield is in here for the Blue Jays as Moniak watches ball 1. 218 average with runners in scoring position. Not very good for Mickey Moniak. He's looking to improve that number here. As here's the pitch from Chad Green. Moniak's going to hit this one, and this one's going to land as the Los Angeles Angels will walk off the Toronto Blue Jays. That's Mickey Moniak with the walk-off single. Mike Trout, the winning run. That's a big-time victory and a big-time series win for the Angels. We've really started to turn our season around. What looked like was going to be a very disappointing year has actually turned out to be a competitive year. We're still sub 500, so there's a lot we need to do better at. But we are making strides to being a better team. Anthony Rendon homered in that game. It's his first home run of the season. Patrick Wisdom and Moniak both with base hits. And Caleb Thielbar picks up the victory. Griffin Canning allowed 3 runs in 5 innings of work, as it's a series victory. And Patrick Sandoval is no longer injured. That's good to see here, so he'll just slot right back into the rotation. Chase Silseth has struggled this season. Jose Suarez as well. These are the 2 guys that I'm really looking at right here, because I don't think we're too far away from seeing Reed Detmers finally make his way back to the major league level. I think that's something we'll wait for until the All-Star break, but I think it's something that you're going to see pretty soon. As Fernando Guillen is on the mound here, as we are going to be taking on the Orioles. Bottom of the 8th, nobody out, and Fernando Guillen has a shutout going late. As Jordan Westberg to the plate here for the Orioles, as Fernando Guillen is looking for the shutout. He's been pitching very well since being called up to the major league level. Also, I don't want to do a bunch of hop-ins and, critical situations in this episode because we have a lot to cover, as this is probably going to be my last one, as we're going to continue simulating from there. This one should be a double play, 6-4, free double play for the Angels, as Fernando Guillen is an out away from going 8 strong. As it's Cedric Mullins to the plate now, hitting 9th for the Orioles, which is actually kind of surprising, and Guillen's going to field it himself, throw on to Shanuel, and get out of the inning. It's 8 scoreless for the rookie. Jorge Mateo to the plate now, hitting leadoff for the Orioles in today's game. He's 0 for 3, as Guillen, a couple outs away here, as he's going to get under this one to try and field it himself, as he's there for the play. 73 pitches, and you're only 2 outs away from a complete game shutout. As Austin Hayes is going to crush this one to deep left field, as Taylor Ward lays out and he's not going to be able to make the play. Fortunately enough, deep left field is very deep at this stadium. Hayes trying to stretch this to a triple, and it's going to get past the third baseman. What in the world is going on? I'm surprised Austin Hayes didn't try to score on that. Would have been a little league inside the park home run. As now it's Adley Rutschman's turn. You can't leave that fastball over the heart of the plate like we just did there. As this one's going to be hit deep. Taylor Ward, what kind of arm do you have? Hayes is going to score with ease, as it's no shutout for Fernando Guillen. JD Martinez to the plate now for the Orioles. We might not get the shutout, but we definitely could get the complete game, which is just as impressive for a rookie pitcher like Fernando Guillen. As here's the 0-1 to Martinez. It misses. Here's the 1-2 to Martinez, as he's going to swing and miss on a slider, as Fernando Guillen with a complete game allows 1 run in the 9th inning. But overall, an excellent outing for the rookie. Somebody who can make a push as the rookie of the year. Only 4 strikeouts on the day, but no walks. Nolan Shanuel with 2 hits, Mickey Moniak with 2, a triple for Patrick Wisdom, and Fernando Guillen with a dominant start. Game 2 here against the Orioles. It's 6-5, bottom of the 8th. Tanner Scott is in to try and hold this game, as the Orioles will win it 8-7. I feel like every time we get that situation there, we lose the game. Shanuel with 2 hits, Rengifo, Ward, and Ohapi with 2. Trout homers, as Chase Silseth must have gotten injured, but it's Jose Suarez who really struggled, as I think it's about time we get him out of there. Tanner Scott, for some reason, was getting the save in that situation when it should have been Andrew Wantz, but he struggled as well, so it really makes no difference. Trying to get the series win here against the Orioles. Tanner Scott's on again. Bottom of the 8th with 2 outs. I hope we don't lose this game, and we won it 7-3, so another series win here for the Angels. We're 47-48. Shanuel with another 3-hit day, really stepping it up. Another home run for him as well. John Means with an excellent outing. Tanner Scott and Robert Stevenson come in and finish things out, as we are just a couple of days away from the draft. We have to play the Mets here in this one, as Bryce Osmond got hurt. He'll be out for 15 days. Ben Goebel will be out for 10 days. And it's a 2-5 loss here against the Mets. A home run for Joe Adell, 2 for 3, as he's had himself a breakout season here. As Patrick Sandoval had a really good start. It's Tanner Scott, back-to-back games where he has just been in sticky situations. The Braves are interested in offering us a trade here, as it's Griffin Canning for Inoa. Really not a bad trade, to be honest with you. I mean, these guys are not far away from being, similar guys here. My thing is Griffin Canning has actually been a small bright spot on the team, even though he's actually having a pretty bad year. The FIP would tell us that he's actually just gotten unlucky. I'm going to decline that trade. I just feel like it doesn't make us any better. Can I finally get to the draft? Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and add prospects to our board here. And then we'll see what happens. So I have a short little list here of guys that I've added to our list here. I am going to adjust this, though, because I want to make sure that, say I mess up and I miss our selection, I want it to be able to take who I want. So it's going to be something like that right there. But I'm going to go ahead and I think it's time to start the 2025 MLB draft. As the Washington Nationals are on the board, they are going to have the very first selection, and they take Johnny Rivera, number 1 overall. He was number 3 on our board, 6 on the MLB board, a 19-year-old pitcher that looks to have pretty solid potential. He's a righty. He looks pretty good. As the second selection is up, I'm not sure who has it. It's the Royals, as they take Elliott Dunlap. He is the number 1 guy on our board, number 2 on the MLB board, 21 years old. This guy looks amazing. I'm glad it's not the Dodgers who took Elliott Dunlap with the number 2 pick in the MLB draft. As we have one more cinematic sequence, as it's the Pirates taking Howard Mays, number 3 overall, so he's off our board. He came in number 7 on our board, 18th on the MLB board. Howard Mays looks like he's going to be a pretty solid blue chip prospect. So the Pirates got a good one, as it's the Boston Red Sox with the 4th pick in the draft here. Remember, you got 10 seconds in between each pick here. We'll end up getting like 3 minutes to make our selection. But the Red Sox are going to take Thomas Morrison, so that's another guy off of our board here. He looks like a very well-rounded pitcher. It's Dennis Brown and Humberto Carmona the two that I'm really interested in moving forward here. Is Steve Tejada taken by the Athletics, somebody that we did not scout, but the Athletics seem to really like him. Nicholas Rocker taken by the White Sox, somebody that we scouted, came in 4th on our board. Looks like a pretty solid pitcher. I just knew that we never really had a chance of taking a guy like that. Tyler De Silva taken by the Reds, somebody that we did not scout, but he looks like a very solid prospect. So the Tigers are the team that's up next. If they take Dennis Brown, then it makes our selection very easy. If they don't take Dennis Brown, we have a lot to think about here. Is it's going to be Martin Casto, and so the Tigers are going to take somebody who we did not have on our radar at all. So it's Dennis Brown or it is Humberto Carmona, 21-year-old or an 18-year-old. My thing is, I think Dennis Brown could be a very intriguing prospect, somebody who starts out with really good stats. The power versus righties is not going to be there. The vision and discipline as well. Do his attributes give him the opportunity to become somebody who can really develop into that 78 to 93 potential? 5'8", 170, he's somebody that I am interested in. Humberto Carmona, though, on the other hand, is somebody who I think has excellent hitting attributes right away. I do think that taking Dennis Brown in this situation here, because I think by taking him, it allows us to maximize our potential on what we could bring in this draft. If we miss out on Humberto Carmona, it would really bother me. But in this situation, there's really not much that I can do here. I think Dennis Brown is the guy that I take just because it gives us the opportunity to maximize our return. If we take Humberto Carmona right now, Dennis Brown would not be available for our next selection. Then we're taking guys like Royce Lima, Josh Donovan, Lance Ornelas, if they're even available. So Dennis Brown is going to be the selection. It's a risky choice. Don't get me wrong. I realize that it is a risky choice. We actually don't even know how good of a player he's going to be. But I think that it was the right choice. He is an 18-year-older that we're going to have to develop. And I have kind of wanted that. We took a lot of guys last year who are going to be ready right away. It feels like Dennis Brown, we're kind of forced to develop this guy, and that makes it an interesting selection. 18 years old, just makes it it's always going to be fun taking an 18-year-old and trying to take him. And Humberto Carmona has been taken by the New York Mets. The Mets had him on their radar as well. So if we wanted to, and Woody McKenzie's taken right after that, he would have been my next choice. Did we mess up? I think that there's a good chance that we did, as Humberto Carmona was somebody that, man, I was very interested in him as a prospect. I probably should have taken him. I think I learned my lesson now. My outlook on that was, well, let's look at what happened with Sean Skinner last year. We took him with our first selection, which now looking back on it was definitely the right choice. I just thought, well, let's be risky this year. We got another situation with a guy who isn't on the MLB board, but he's on our board. So let's, take a look at him, see what kind of prospect he could be. Well, let's be risky and let's not take him, if that made any sense, as I'm kind of talking about a whole lot of nothing now. That's unfortunate. we got Royce Lima, Josh Donovan, guys that are on the board here. And now with Carmona being taken, it really makes me want to take Leandro Beltran if he is available for our selection, because he's an intriguing pitching prospect that I think is going to have low B potential to start out. As Leandro Beltran has been taken 23rd overall in the draft, which is about right where the MLB draft board had him. He's somebody that I was interested in as well. Bruce Ford taken by the Cubs, and now we're thinking maybe Lance Ornelas is the guy that we take. The 82 to 87 potential shortstop. It's either him or it's going to be Royce Lima. These guys are, pretty much in the same statistical category. I think what I'd be looking for here is that power upside. Kerry Hagan taken by the Houston Astros here. I'm going to continue to beat myself up over not taking Humberto Carmona until I can see the ratings. He looks really good. He's an automatic B potential guy. Don't really know how to think about the situation right now. Now, this also makes me not want to pass up on Royce Lima because he's an outfielder, and we don't necessarily need outfielders. But I do like what he can bring to the table. He has a more well-rounded power potential compared to Lance Ornelas. So I think Royce Lima would be the guy that I'm more interested in here. The power could be there for Ornelas as well in the future. He's got position flexibility. He can play second and third, but he could be taken here shortly anyway. So it all depends on what happens here. As this competitive balance round is where you see a lot of relief pitchers go. Closing pitchers, relief guys. You're not really going to see it happen in the first round. So Lance Ornelas taken by the Detroit Tigers at 38 overall. So that makes our next selection a pretty easy one. Royce Lima, though, unfortunately, he did opt out of his doctor's exam. So that is a little worrisome. Maybe he's potentially injured, and that does scare me just a little bit. And if we go Royce Lima, we're probably going to end up going Horacio Walker later on as well. So there's a good chance that we could be taking two center fielders. I do want to take a starting pitcher, though. Herb Saunders is the guy that I'm most interested in. The hits per nine and strikeouts per nine is quite low, so isn't the pitch control. So I'll have to look through here and see if I can't find any other pitchers to look at before our next selection at 85. But I think with this selection, we are probably going to take Royce Lima. We just have to wait and find out if anybody will take him. As Royce Lima has been taken by the San Diego Padres, we just can't catch a break. I've learned in today's draft that you can't wait for your guy. If you really like him, you have to take him. I've learned that, and it kind of sucks. So Horacio Walker's probably the guy we take now. 60% scouted, so we don't really know a whole lot about him. He's 18 years old, though, so he is another one of those you have to develop kind of prospects. You also have Josh Donovan, who's 18 years old, 71 to 92 potential. Horacio Walker, 66 to 89 overall to start, is a little bit higher than what we're seeing for Josh Donovan here. Herb Saunders is a guy who we could take a look at, but I don't think he's going to be that great. Same thing with Christopher Machado. He just doesn't really look that well-rounded. With a guy like Horacio Walker, he actually does look pretty well-rounded to start. It'd be back-to-back years we take a center fielder. We had Sean Skinner and now Walker if we take him. We can see if there's anybody else on here that we could take. You got Dudley Sierra, starting pitcher here. Charles Kyle is somebody that we didn't scout, 6 foot, 199 pounds. We didn't scout him, and I don't think that I can pull myself to take somebody who we didn't scout. I think the pick here has got to be Horacio Walker. I just think that he falls in line with where we're selecting right now. Could be a bad decision. Another 18-year-old that we're going to draft here. I really didn't like that selection. So Josh Donovan was taken right after us by the New York Mets. Go figure. Maybe they just pulled off a pretty good draft steal. We also saw Charles Kelly get taken by the Dodgers. That was another guy that I was kind of interested in. We still have some guys here at the top. Christopher Machado, Herb Saunders, that I am interested in. Then I added some starting pitchers here as well. As we are nearing our next selection here in a little bit, I'm going to go through here, see if I can't find any other, position players that I'm interested in. So Herb Saunders taken by the Cleveland Guardians here. So that takes a little bit away from a potential pitching prospect. Dudley Sierra was taken by the Atlanta Braves. So that's another guy that's now off the board. We just saw William Tran. I just added him to the board. He has been taken by the New York Yankees. So looking at what our selection could be here, I think we're going to be thinking about Christopher Machado, somebody that we could potentially take. Got pretty good speed. The power could be there in the future, but I'm not sure that I actually want to take that. William Harvey, a 90 to 95 potential overall player. It would take him a long time to end up getting to where we would like him to be. But then you got Vernon Vega, somebody who has got exceptional velocity, but he's not known for striking a whole lot of people out, which is kind of a confusing thing. Christopher Machado has been taken by the Royals here. You also got David Cho here, who looks like he's not going to be giving up very many walks, has a 4-seam, 2-seam changeup, and slider from South Korea. Stamina looks pretty solid. Would be somebody you need to develop, though. Abraham McCollum, another guy that you would have to develop from Ohio. 4-seam slider, forkball, circle change, and curveball mix. So looking at our upcoming selection here, Ken Nomo is somebody that I'm interested in, and then Herschel Dwyer. Hector Nava's been taken. I think in this situation, Ramon Cardenas is probably the guy that I want to take here. He may not be that good at 18 years old. It's kind of hard to say. But then you got Ken Nomo, who's also 18 years old from Japan. Looks to have decent power in the future. The contact looks pretty low. Decent speed as well. Or it's Herschel Dwyer here. So there's your options. I think what I'm going to go with here is I want to bring in some kind of pitching prospect. I think Ramon Cardenas is probably the guy that I want to take here. It's him or Ken Nomo. And I'm going to take Ramon Cardenas, somebody that we have not scouted, so I actually don't know how good of a player he is. This draft just really has not been that good. So I went ahead and sim to our next selection, as Vernon Vega was taken right before us here. He's somebody who has that velocity, but he wasn't known for striking guys out, so he was somebody that I didn't want to take. Ken Nomo is going to be the selection here. Plays right field, and that's the only thing that we know about him so far. Maybe he turns out to be a pretty solid player, though. So I think we have we have two more selections. So I'll go through here, I guess, and I'll try to find some guys who we scouted. So David Chu here out of South Korea, I think is going to be the selection here. Or is it David Cho? I think it's Cho. He's going to be the selection here, another starting pitcher. He wasn't ranked on the MLB board, 135th on ours. We probably could have not taken him there, as we're going to sim to our last pick here. And our last pick is going to be catcher David Dobie, 51 to 85 potential, 36 to 70 overall to start, 19 years old out of Indiana. We do need probably a pretty decent catching prospect down at the minors. So I think he's the guy that is probably the best choice. Our draft is one that I'm not particularly happy with, but it has come to an end. Dennis Brown is the headliner. We'll figure out what kind of player he's going to be. He doesn't play anything other than second base, so he has no position flexibility, which, to be completely honest with you, probably should have been a bigger factor. Humberto Carmona can play second and right as well. Looks like a pure hitter, and we just missed out, unfortunately. So it's Fernando Guillen back on the mound here for the final game before the All-Star break, and we are going to win it 12-2. As we have two players playing here in the Home Run Derby, I do believe. Nope, it's just one. It's going to be Mike Trout playing here in the Derby. I am going to play it, but first I want to take a look at this box score here, as it was a 4-hit day for Luis Rengifo, 4 for Mike Trout as well, 3 for Moniak, and 3 for Ohapi. Fernando Guillen with another dominant outing, as we are going to play the Home Run Derby here. It's Mike Trout versus everybody else. 26 home runs on the season for Trout. That is good for 12.5 at-bats per home run on the year. The lowest we're seeing on the list here is Yordan Alvarez, as he has 33 home runs. And because of the home runs, he is going to be a favorite to win the MVP. But we're going to be taking on Mookie Betts here in the first round. It's Los Angeles versus Los Angeles. As here is Mike Trout. I haven't done a home run derby in a long time. It does take some adjusting to time up the pitches here. So hopefully I can put together a pretty solid round. 13 home runs in here with about a minute to go. We did hit our extra time, as he's pretty much routinely hitting these balls 490 feet. He's been crushing it. Even that one right there didn't feel good off the bat, but it was still 425, as he's nearing in on potentially 20 home runs here in the first round. I don't even think that I'm going to actually watch Mookie Betts' at-bat because I don't think he has a chance at beating us. As now that I'm talking too much, we're actually starting to struggle. As 15 home runs as we reach bonus time here. That right there should be 16, as that one looked like it was off the foul pole. Looks like we may only get 16 home runs here with Trout. That one goes foul. We have maybe 2 more swings here. Yep, there's 1. So 17 home runs, 493 was the max there. And I think that I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the next user batter, as we have a tiebreaker here against Mookie Betts. Can we win it? As we are early on everything right now. That one's crushed. This is what I'm talking about. This one right here might be 500 feet. Wow. 471. It felt like it went 500 feet. As that one right there is going to drift foul, unfortunately, as we only have 1 home run through the first 20 or 38 seconds. And there is no bonus time here, so Mookie Betts would only have to hit 3 home runs right now to tie us. As we are going to spectate here. There's one for Betts. We went cold at the end of our first session. And when we went cold there, that allowed Betts to be able to tie us up, as he's going to miss on back-to-back pitches. This one's crushed deep to left field as it's gone. He's 1 home run away from tying us up, as he's going to get a base hit. 20 seconds left for Mookie Betts. He hits that one foul. So with 13 seconds left, it's coming down to the wire here. This one is going to be gone. 1 more swing for Mookie Betts. 4 seconds left on the clock, as this one is going to win the round for Mookie Betts, as he hits 4 to knock off Mike Trout. Unfortunately, I just got a bit complacent there. I thought that 17 home runs was easily going to be enough. As we're going to simulate here to the end of the Derby, as Aaron Judge wins it. He hit 15 to beat Tristan Casas in the first round, hit 26 to beat Nolan Gorman, and then hit 20 to beat Yordan Alvarez to win the home run derby. Unfortunately, we just got complacent. Mike Trout doesn't win the home run derby, but, you know, I don't care about the home run derby. I want to make the playoffs. And at this moment, I am going to actually go through here. Somebody's going to be getting sent down, and it's going to be Jose Suarez is going to be getting sent down to the AAA squad. This will use up one of his options, so he'll actually have to pass through waivers. But we should be able to go ahead and call up, where's he at? Reed Detmers back to the big league squad. I think he's been doing well enough at the AAA level to be able to get called back up. And he is going to slot in to be our number 4 guy. Chase Silseth will go to the long relief role. I think it's time for Detmers to be given another opportunity. I think that it's the right move to make. One more thing that I wanted to do as well is, even though Tanner Scott has struggled recently, he is going to be our new closer. We're going to put Andrew Wantz in the setup role. Wantz has just kind of struggled. He's got 5 blown saves, 23 saves total. Well, 4 blown saves for Tanner Scott. So maybe that's not the right decision here. Let's look at the advanced numbers. The FIP here, 4.89 for Andrew Wantz. And a lower FIP here for Tanner Scott. I think that Scott is going to be the closer, and we'll see how it works out. So it is the All-Star game here. I'm going to go through here and look to see how many players we have in the All-Star game. I don't think we're going to have any pitchers, to be honest with you. No pitchers. And looking at the offensive guys, Mike Trout is an All-Star game starter. Nothing new there. Patrick Wisdom is an All-Star starter, so that's really good to see. And that is it. So we got Patrick Wisdom with, I believe, his first All-Star appearance of his career. And then Mike Trout with an All-Star appearance. Obviously, we know he's been to a lot of them. I think I am going to go ahead and simulate the All-Star game. The NL wins that one. Can we look at the box score? No, there is no way of looking at the box score, which kind of sucks. But when you look at Patrick Wisdom here, it is going to be his very first All-Star appearance. He's having a breakout season, you know, the best year of his career. And then obviously Mike Trout was an All-Star game starter. He makes another All-Star appearance. He's having one of the best years of his career at the moment. I didn't want to play the All-Star game because I think we just need to wait until we get a little bit more people in there. Patrick Wisdom being there, though, is a very exciting thing to see. as Washington has claimed Jose Suarez off of waivers. So he is gone. Would we like to withdraw this waiver request? No. The Nationals have claimed him. It is time to start signing draft picks here. Dennis Brown, we need to get that interest up a little bit. Horacio Walker, we actually need to scout. A lot of these guys we do need to scout. David Cho, we can't even offer him a contract. So, yeah, we're in a sticky situation here. I'm going to actually just do something like that here for this very first. So, Reed Detmers, it's his first start since being called up to the major league level, and we're going to drop this game 4-6. It's a 3-hit day for Mike Trout, so he continues to dominate. And looking at Reed Detmer's start, it was a rough one. Chase Silseth came out of the bullpen, and he struggled like usual this season. Caleb Ferguson and Robert Stevenson did their thing. Robert Stevenson, by the way, can we talk about the kind of season that he's had? 44 innings of work, a 1.83 ERA. He has been the best player in this bullpen all season long. Last year was not that great of a year for him, but this year, holy crap, this guy is dominant. Second game here against the Astros, and we've now lost back-to-back games. A 3-6 loss here. Home run for Patrick Wisdom as John Means struggled. It appears a lot of players have gone cold here. Dennis Brown, we have to wait a little bit longer for him as we got an extra bit of scouting here on him. The contact looks pretty solid for Dennis Brown. So he actually looks a little bit better than we thought he was, and I think it is going to be a pretty solid decision to end up drafting him. David Cho here. We got him 100% scouted. We're going to go ahead and offer him a contract. We'll go a little bit above where he is, as he's going to choose not to sign. Interesting. We do have to add David Dobie here because if we don't, he is unfortunately not going to sign. Dennis Brown's somebody we have to get the interest up on, or we're not going to be able to sign him as well. So, kind of in a sticky situation right now as Patrick Sandoval gets the mound for the very final game of the series as we do beat the Astros here. 2-hit day for Trout and Wisdom. Neto and Rosario as well. Moniak with a home run as Patrick Sandoval had a pretty good day. Caleb Ferguson struggles. Tanner Scott struggles as he blows a save. Maybe he's not in the right role, so we're going to go through here. I think Andrew Wentz is going to go back to the closing role. I just think that Tanner Scott's actually struggling at the moment. It is trade deadline season. I don't think I'm going to be trading anybody, but we do have some things to think about as far as contract extensions go. Ben Joyce, maybe somebody you want to try and extend. Logan O'Hoppe, potentially. Shanuel. Rengifo is the guy that I really would like to try and extend. Right now, he's looking for about 6.2 a year. I think I'm going to hold off on giving him a contract, though. It's really hard for me to hold off on that because he has been so good for us, and this year he's actually playing even better than last year, and I thought he played really good a year ago. Rengifo, do we offer him like a 3-year deal? Give him what he wants here. We can do 3-year, $18 million, and if he accepts, then he accepts. That would push him to his age 31 season, and he has decided to accept. So Luis Rengifo is going to stay on the team here. The contract pushes him up through 2028, and then 2029 he'll be a free agent. I think that's good to lock him down. We locked him down for a cheap contract. He's got position flexibility, and he plays very good. His numbers against righties continue to go up. 11 home runs, 25 doubles on the year is insane. He doesn't strike out a whole lot. The average is in a very good place. The WAR is at 1.5. The ISO could be up there a little bit more, but overall, I'm impressed with Luis Rengifo, somebody that I thought maybe we could trade. Instead, we lock him up for a couple more years. So Luis Rengifo has been extended as we get into a series now with the toughest team in our division. The Rangers have been dominant all season long. As the Red Sox are interested in offering us a trade here, Jacob Junis for Patrick Sandoval, no thank you. As we lose this game 4-8 against the Rangers. Only 5 hits as a team. Elias Diaz with a home run. Griffin Canning allows 4 earned. Ben Joyce and Thielbar struggle as we're really starting to kind of stumble a little bit here as Dennis Brown is up to 44% interest. David Dobie, I don't know how we're going to get this done. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Horacio Walker is ready, though. I have to offer him a contract, and we're going to go a little bit above slot value here. And these guys just don't want to sign. This has been a disaster. We have to get David Cho here to sign. If we don't, I don't know what we're going to do. We can't get anybody to sign their contracts. Dennis Brown, we can't even offer him. David Dobie, we can't offer as well. What about Ken Nomo? Can we just lock somebody up, please? As Ken Nomo has decided to sign with the Angels. We don't even get a look at what his actual overall is. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I want to be able to sign these guys. As Ramon Cardenas is going to need to be looked at a little bit more here. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get Dennis Brown because we have 10 days. He'd go up. We're going to have to give him like way above what he would want. Either that or we're not going to be able to draft him. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to swap him and David Dobie because we need to make sure we get Dennis Brown. Because if we don't, that would be a disaster. As here's game 2 against the Rangers. Bottom of the 8th, 1 out. Luis Rengifo, who we just signed to an extension, is at the plate. I know we're not seeing a whole lot of gameplay in this episode, but I wanted to get through the home run derby, the All-Star break, the MLB draft that has slowly turned into a disaster. As Rengifo is pretty solid against righties, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's gotten a lot better. He's better against lefties, but he's gotten a lot better against right-handed pitching. Jacob deGrom, though, is a different kind of breed on the mound. 302 average with runners in scoring position is Luis Rengifo. So here's the pitch. As he just crushed this one to right center field. Now I know why I signed him to an extension. 109 off the bat gives us a 3-1 lead. Boy, am I glad we're keeping him in Anaheim. Luis Rengifo with a 3-run bomb off of Jacob deGrom. That rhymed. 437 feet. 109.1 off the bat. As that will take deGrom out of the game. As now it's Mike Trout to the plate. He's 1 for 3 on the day. As now we're just going to play this game out now. As Trout pops this one up behind the plate. Oh, he just laid on it. I know it says very late, but that's a pitch that you would like to crush. As now we need to get Andrew Wantz up and moving in the bullpen to try and get the save. Patrick Wisdom 0 for 3 on the day as he watches the slider miss. Here's the 1-0. Pretty good pitch there by Spores. Spores, however you say his last name. Here's the 1-1 from him as that one's fouled away by Wisdom. I've hit 3 home runs with Luis Rengifo in this episode. You want to talk about somebody who I love to play with? Luis Rengifo is that guy. And I'm going to simulate the rest of the game. No sense in actually hopping in there as we do get the win. Jimmy Herget gets the win. For some reason, we kept him in. Nope, Andrew Wentz did come in and save the game. So I was going to say, why did we keep Jimmy Herget in the game? But it's a victory, 24th save for Wentz. Luis Rengifo, the hero, with a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th to give us the victory. As by the way, it was Fernando Guillen on the mound, and he had another dominant game. Only 1 strikeout, which is not high at all. He has been our best pitcher at the moment. Closing out the series here against the Rangers, we do lose this one 5-7. As it's a series loss for 50-54 now. Mike Trout with a home run as Reed Detmer struggled again. He's averaging a run per inning. His ERA is literally at 9.15. He's giving up a run per inning, which is just not good. We're here again to try and sign some more draft picks. As we're actually seeing Dennis Brown's potential change as each day goes by. David Dobie's only getting 10% scouting, which is actually kind of interesting here. I'm going to remove Cardenas because we're going to try and sign Horacio Walker here. We're going to have to go. I mean, how much does Dennis Brown want? He wants 4.6. So we're going to have to go up on Horacio Walker here. He finally decides to sign. So the center field prospect has signed a potential 69 to 88. We'll have to see what kind of player he turns out to be. David Cho's the next guy. He's asking for $325,000. We can give him $420 as he takes it. David Cho, or Chu. It's Sin-Soo Chu that played on the Reds, so it's David Chu. That's the way you would say it for a Korean last name. We can't do anything with Dennis Brown, David Dobie, or Ramon Cardenas, though, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get these guys under contract. We're 50-54 as we take on the Astros. Now the Reds are interested in offering us a trade. Frankie Montas for Reed Detmers. I'm going to say no to that trade if we lose this one 1-8. Only 2 hits all game It's Taylor Ward and Nolan Shanuel. John Means struggling. I don't know what it is with this team right now, but that's another loss, and it's going to be another series loss. As here's one that's interesting. Tony Gonsolin for Griffin Canning. I can't do it. I just can't do it. They're offering us. I just don't like it. Actually, we haven't lost the series yet, as we have 2 more games. Dennis Brown, we can finally offer this guy a contract, and I'm going to give him $4.94 million. He has signed with the Angels. So our first-round selection, Dennis Brown, is officially a part of the future. Just got to wait a little bit longer for David Dobie and Ramon Cardenas here. I'm pretty sure we don't have anybody else that we're waiting on. No, we don't. Can we please pick up a win here in the series, as we can't play the game yet because the Bees have too many guys on the team. As we have now just lost another game, Kyle Gibson for Taylor Ward. And Kyle Gibson is not even playing, so I don't know why we would take that trade. It's 4 straight losses, as we're now 7 games below 500. Maybe it is time to start thinking about selling here as we reach the deadline. We have lost again. Now they want to offer us Aaron Ashby, who looks like a pretty good pitcher, I'm not going to lie. For Griffin Canning, it's an intriguing trade, I can't lie. Ashby, who really hasn't played that well. The whip is really high. The FIP at 4.5. Is he really that much better than Griffin Canning? No, not really. Ashby, also, we would have him under contract for a little bit longer. I'm going to say no to that, but I think that it's time that we maybe... Yep, not going to take that one. We just got him under contract. I don't know why we would make that trade. David Dobie and Ramon Cardenas here. We're going to go ahead and offer these guys. David Dobie's not signing. How about Ramon Cardenas? Will you sign? He will. So we do have Ramon Cardenas signed. We're waiting on David Dobie now. This is Detmer's last chance here. If he struggles, I think it's time to just get whatever we can for him in a trade. It's another loss. The Reds are offering us a trade here. I don't know why. I guess Rengifo is on the trade block. We hit the ball well. Wisdom with a home run. 7 hits total. Well, I guess only 1 run. I guess we didn't do too well. Reed Detmers with another loss. Chase Silseth. I just think we're in a situation here where when you look at our contract situations, there's not many guys that I would really want to trade that are going to be free agents next year. There's 2 guys. I think there's actually just 1 guy, and it's Griffin Canning, who really has been our best pitcher so far this season. You got Caleb Dilbar as well. He's actually kind of struggling just a little bit out of the pen. We're seeing ratings go down for him as well. The WAR, 0.3 WAR. FIP looks like it's in a pretty solid spot, though. I actually haven't even looked at our lineup to see who's performing. Shanuel, Luis Rengifo there. Mike Trout still with an MVP level season. Taylor Ward is struggling a little bit with that 241 average. Logan O'Hoppe as well hasn't been playing well. And second base / third base has been where we've really struggled. But Anthony Rendon, I think, is ready for the challenge, I guess, of playing third base, because right now Ahmed Rosario is just not getting it done. Andres Chaparro, and then you got Joe Adell, who's actually starting to slow down a little bit this season. Elias Diaz, who's been pretty good off the bench. And then Sean Skinner at AA has been playing pretty well. We're seeing a lot of rating increases. He's up to a 70 overall. Still really intrigued by this guy, and that's why I'm not too disappointed in our draft this season. Still liking the way he's playing. Nelson Reyes seeing pretty good power increases here. Matt Horvath is kind of the guy who we're waiting to see a huge breakout because he could play the infield in the future. Tanner Scoble has played good all season long at AA. Evan White, though, who can play first base, I think is somebody that I'm interested in calling up when we hit September. He has crushed the ball. C potential, 28 years old. Seeing a lot of rating increases here. The vision is low, but he's somebody that is playing good. And I think that maybe he could be a pretty good impact for the team. The problem is when you look at our lineup, where would he slot in? Where could he help out? He would have to take Andres Chaparro's spot, but Andres Chaparro hasn't played so poorly that I don't think he should be on the team. Nolan Shanuel, you can't take him off the field, unfortunately. He's just not somebody who you can do that to. Taylor Ward, though, is somebody that I am really interested in trading. The OPS is above average. He's actually playing at a pretty good line this season. We have a lot of outfield prospects coming up here in the future that would allow Shanuel to potentially play some left field this season. He doesn't really have the attributes for it, but it's something we could definitely do. And Ahmed Rosario has struggled, so maybe he can go somewhere else. But I think that you got a guy down here like Evan White, who has played very good this season at AAA. 17 home runs, the OPS at 823. Positive WAR player here. He was a Gold Glove in 2020. He can only play first base, but I think he's somebody that I am interested in. Maybe he gives us a little bit of a spark, but we'd have to figure out a trade here for Taylor Ward at 31 years old. I don't think we're going to get anything amazing. So I ran the trade finder here, and the Dodgers looked like the very best team to kind of trade with here. But unfortunately, it didn't appear that they were very interested in us trading here. The budget has got to be the big problem here, is because their budget's so bad. I don't think that it's possible to make that trade happen unless we were, taking somebody off their payroll who was getting paid way too much. The Padres, they do have kind of a need here. They have Tatis. They kind of have a small need here. So maybe there's somebody we think about here. Do they have anybody that could help us out? Maybe a starting pitcher, Glenn Otto, maybe. He's played at AAA pretty much all season long. Matt Waldron doesn't really strike too many guys out, gives up a lot of home runs, but he's played very good this season for them. That would put a little bit of a detriment into their starting rotation, but they are interested in making this trade. Taylor Ward would give them 2 more years of team control. He's got versatility. He's playing pretty solid with a decent OPS at the moment. Matt Waldron, I think, would give us the help that we need. He's a knuckleball pitcher. That's interesting. He's really good at not giving up hits and not giving up walks. It's the home run and K per 9 that he really struggles with. But he's one guy that we could think about here. So they're interested in making this deal. So Matt Waldron and Taylor Ward here. We could go ahead and look at the starting pitchers that we have that we may think about throwing into the trade. As Chase Chaney has been very good as far as development goes this season. He's been really good at AAA. I actually don't really think that there is a need to make this trade happen. I think that what it is I think Chase Chaney, deserves an opportunity at the big league level. Who's coming down is the question. Reed Detmers, he's not getting it done. I don't know what the plan of attack moving forward is with him. Maybe we do just put him in the bullpen, and maybe he plays a little bit better out of the pen, and maybe Caleb Thielbar gets waived here with his age, and with a 4.37 ERA, 1.24 whip, hasn't played that bad. The FIP actually kind of indicates that he's been better than advertised. I just think Chase Chaney actually does give us an opportunity to win games. I think he's played at a very good level. Therefore, I think that he deserves an opportunity before we go out and start trading guys. Caleb Thielbar, I think, has struggled. He's seen a lot of rating decreases. I think we just move him down to AAA. And we'll go ahead and put Caleb Thielbar in a long relief position at the AAA level. But Chase Chaney is going to get his opportunity here. He has played well. John Means, Griffin Canning, Patrick Sandoval haven't played well either. But Reed Detmers, I think maybe we give him an opportunity in the bullpen because he's just not played well enough. And I don't know that anybody would make that trade with us. We've lost so many games in a row that I don't know what the future of this team even is. We're 2-8 in our last 10 games. But I'm still thinking maybe we trade Taylor Ward here, though. If we can get a decent C potential prospect who's young, who has potential, I think that maybe it's something I would be interested in. Preferably, I think a catching prospect would be pretty cool to get. Here is a 49 overall guy for the Yankees. No, thank you. What about a 53 overall Vince Nicholson here from the Rays? I think he could be solid. I think he's a pretty good defensive guy. Obviously, he was somebody that was just drafted not long ago. I'm going to say no to that just because I don't think it's the right move. Here's Ramon Ramirez from the Marlins. I don't think the Marlins are going to be a team that is in the trade market right now, but he is a catching prospect. Moises Ballesteros, I think, is too high overall to start to be somebody that would be traded. You got Alfredo Duno for the Reds, somebody that I would like to trade for, but I just don't think we're going to get anything done there. So I just don't think we're going to be making a trade here. I think that Evan White is somebody that I would like to be given an opportunity at the big league level just because of how well he has hit at AAA. I just don't know how we would make that happen. You know what? Maybe there is a way we make it happen in the sense of maybe we go ahead and... Where's he at? Ahmed Rosario. Maybe it's time for him to go down to the AAA level for just a little bit and see how well he can perform there. And then we can go ahead and give Evan White his first chance. I mean, obviously, he'd have to clear through waivers if he goes back down again. But I think that Ahmed Rosario has been struggling to the point where somebody else needs to be given an opportunity there. So Evan White will slot in to play first base against lefties. Shanuel here, I know that it's going to hurt his development to not have him face left-handed hitting, and he's actually been pretty good at it. That's the problem that I have with making that decision. I just don't know, where else he would play. Taylor Ward out in left hits lefties, pretty well, I do believe. So we can actually go ahead and look at how well Taylor Ward does against lefties and righties, just to get a look and see, can Shanuel play in left in certain situations. So he's struggling more against righties, but he's getting a lot of his home runs against righties. He's getting very little power against lefties. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is against left-handed pitching, I'm going to go ahead and put, left-handed pitching here. I'm going to go ahead and put Nolan Shanuel out there to face lefties and play some left field just to see that could help us in the future. I don't know. That's what we're going to do. Those are the moves we're going to make. No trades, though, on our part. We made the one trade for John Means earlier in the season, as it's going to be time to sign our draft picks here. David Dobie is the only guy we're waiting on here. He does not look like he's that good of a prospect here. He does decide to sign, though, as that is it for our draft guys. Only thing left to do now is to see their final ratings. As John Means is on the mound, 3-4 is the score. Anthony Rendon at the plate. We're going to hop in. So Rendon at the plate, bases juiced here. I don't know if he's the guy I want at the plate. I think I want Mickey Moniak to come in here. He's going to hit righties better. He's got a 252 average on the season. And this Luis Patino out on the mound here for the Padres. Here's the first pitch to Moniak. It's inside for a ball. Mickey Moniak acquired from the Phillies a couple of years ago, as he's going to be just behind on a fastball. Of course, Moniak, the guy who hit the walk-off earlier in the episode. Here's the 1-1 from Patino. Moniak. Late on the circle change. It's 1-2. Here's the 1-2 to Moniak. Turns on the fastball and hits it foul. Decent speed on third and first. A little bit slower of a guy on second. As here's the 1-2 to Moniak. As he swings and misses at the circle change. Down to... Well, we have a couple more opportunities here. It's only the top of the eighth. But Zach Neto, 2 for 4 on the day. As he watches the fastball miss. Not really known for hitting righties very well as Zach Neto. But hopefully he can get a hold of one here. As he's going to foul away the slider. Neto hits this one on the ground, and it's going to be a fair ball. It's going to be a fair ball. It's going to be a base knock for Zach Neto. Botched that commentating session up. As the game is tied here in the bottom of the eighth, and it's Luis Rengifo to the plate. Can we hit our 4th home run of the episode with him? No, we cannot. But we did our job. We tied the game up here. Can we break the losing streak, please? We're going to return to simulating here. Can we pick up the victory? We do. Shanuel with a 2 RBI home run to give us a 6-4 lead. That happened in the 10th inning as Mike Trout homered as well in this game. His 28th of the season. John Means with a decent outing. Chase Silseth and Andrew Wantz helped out. Evan White also with a base knock. He went 1 for 5 with a double and 2 scores. as we break our losing streak, as that is going to be the end of the month. The Reds are interested in a last-second offer. They keep offering us this trade for Frankie Montas. I'm not interested in doing it. Today is the trade deadline, as we are 51 and 59. If you look at the standings here, we are 7.5 back of the wild card, still in a position to potentially make a run. When you look at the lineup, of course, you got a couple of guys who have struggled. Taylor Ward, Logan O'Hoppe, who really hasn't played too well. OPS is above average, which is good. Taylor Ward still not really pleased with the way he's played at all. I think we would fare a little bit better if Shanuel was getting everyday chances in that position. And then looking at the rest of the bullpen, I think it'd be really hard to disrupt it. Chase Silseth, he's seeing rating increases. The whip is high. The ERA isn't really terrible. He's just not played too well. Jimmy Herget's playing really good. Caleb Ferguson, high whip, but the ERA looks really good in a pretty solid spot. The FIP is at 3.87, which would indicate he's doing really well. We've already talked about Robert Stevenson and the way he's performed. Ben Joyce, 40 strikeouts in 34 innings of work, 10.49 K per nine. The FIP is down. Tanner Scott and Andrew Wentz still trying to figure it out there. Chase Silseth's the one guy that maybe could use some time at AAA. But to make a trade and bring in a starting pitcher, I just don't think that's the move right now. I think that the team that we have is the team that we're going to rock with the rest of the season. So we are going to advanced days. The trade deadline is almost over, and we just got ourselves a huge trade request from the Brewers. I don't think this one had been offered yet. Ashby is a lefty. Would probably fare, best as a relief guy, maybe. I just don't know where you would slot him in. He's actually really struggling. Does he make our team better? Does he give us an opportunity for a playoff push? I'm going to say no, he doesn't. Does Taylor Ward give us an opportunity for a playoff push? Probably not. And keeping Evan White in there, and that I just think that what Taylor Ward, the way this is edited, is probably going to sound a little goofy just because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Is there a catcher out there? Is there a catching prospect out there who I could make a move on? There's Jeremy Emerson, who's B potential, 20 years old. If he was a little bit younger, I think I could make that trade. There's Vince Nicholson, the Tampa Bay Rays catching prospect here. He's seen a little bit of increases here. If he was a little bit higher overall, somebody that maybe I would think about. You got Ramon Ramirez here from the Marlins. If the Marlins are playing 500 baseball, which they are, they're in a situation where they're only 3 back of the wild card. Let's look at the Marlins lineup. They got Alex Verdugo out in left, and right they got Juan Soto. Jazz Chisholm out in center field. Jesus Sanchez playing DH. And he hasn't really played too great here. He's also the DH here against lefties. I just wonder, does it actually even make them better bringing in Ramon Ramirez? Is this a guy that is actually a real player, or is this somebody who the Marlins drafted last year? So could we give them something else as well? Maybe Guillermo Avalos, even though I think he's got a pretty bright future here for us, and he's somebody that I don't really want to give up. Maybe there is Barrett Kent, who doesn't really look too good right now. And then maybe we could bring in a lower level starting pitching prospect. What about Joshua Blackburn? No, he's a little bit too good, I do believe. I think we're going to go Taylor Ward and Barrett Kent for catching prospect Ramon Ramirez, and go ahead and give me Cam Rubio. Are they interested in that? So Ramon Ramirez and Cam Rubio for Taylor Ward and Barrett Kent. I think that is not... I don't think that's an even trade. Maybe there is somebody else that we could trade for here. You know what? I think Cam Rubio is probably a little bit better of a trade for... I think it's an even trade because Barrett Kent with that B potential versus C potential. Barrett Kent also gives you the option to potentially do some long relief with him. Cam Rubio, who knows how long it would be before we see him. Ramon Ramirez is the big guy to the trade. Taylor Ward obviously would help the Marlins out. And that's going to be our only trade here. It doesn't really give us a push to be better. It's actually kind of more of a sell, to be completely honest with you. So what we're going to go ahead and do is Ahmed Rosario is going to be called back up to the big league level. The starting pitching is going to stay the exact same. Looking at the AAA level, who did we get rid of again? It was Barrett Kent. Cam Rubio will be called up to the AA level. And then we will have, well, let's see. Is Eric Mott ready for an opportunity at AAA at 20 years old? He has played very good. The whip is low. The WAR's at a 1.0. Is it time for Eric Mott to get an opportunity? I think it is for the meantime. So Eric Mott called up to the AAA level. It's a big time move. And Ramon Ramirez is going to start getting some ABs at the AA. He was the big trade piece. He's 19 years old. We may see him in the future, but got to go ahead and adjust our lineup here. And the way we're going to do this is Nolan Shanuel will play left field the rest of the season. Evan White is going to get opportunities at first base. Maybe that makes us a little bit better. So no need to make any other moves there. As Cam Rubio will stay in the middle relief role. Travis McGregor can go ahead and be our closer. Or Michael Schaefer can be our closer here. And then Eric Mott is set to be a setup guy. I guess we can keep him there, but I think we need to really move somebody down, if anything. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our lineup here for the AAA squad and see what we're missing. Well, apparently nobody. So we'll just keep it something like that right there. So we can go ahead and advance day. Today is one of the final days to... So Caden Dana struggled. Sean Skinner was a hot bat at the AA level. Oscar Gonzalez played pretty well at AAA. Travis McGregor did well at AA. And Sam Bachman with a strong month. So we made some moves. Not the most exciting moves. We look at the trade deadline. We were the only team that made trades. So nobody traded with anybody, which is kind of disappointing. John Means we got from the Mets. We gave up Levon Soto, Davis Daniel, and Joe Stewart. And then the Ramon Ramirez and Cam Rubio additions from the Marlins. We gave up Taylor Ward and Barrett Kent. So we got nobody to sign here. We're just ready for a couple more days of simulating as we pick up the victory against the Rockies 2-1. 2 hits for... Okay, that was wrong team. Luis Rengifo, 2 hits. Mickey Moniak with 2. Evan White goes 0 for 2. O'Hoppe and Rendon each with a hit. And Mike Trout with a home run. And that's the best start of the season for Patrick Sandoval, if you ask me. Now it's Griffin Canning on the mound here, and it's a 7-4 victory. 4 hits for Nolan Shanuel playing out there in left field. Hopefully he's not making any errors as Evan White goes 1 for 4. Griffin Canning with a pretty solid start, but it was Caleb Ferguson, Tanner Scott, and Andrew Wantz who kind of locked things down there. As it's Fernando Guillen here. We're going to simulate one more game because then we got Chase Chaney here against the Twins making his MLB debut. As Fernando Guillen has another shutout going. We win this one 5-3, and it's a series sweep to push us to 54 and 59. 2 hits for Rengifo, Trout, and Moniak. It's a home run for Rengifo and Moniak. And it was Fernando Guillen who went 7 1/3, giving up 3 earned. He's 5-3 on the season. Tanner Scott and Andrew Wantz close it down. So it's a series sweep as we're 54 and 59. We take on the Twins in the next episode, but it's Chase Chaney who's going to be getting his MLB debut. I will be getting a player lock game in with him. But before we end this episode, it's time to look at our draft picks. Headlined by Dennis Brown coming in at an 89 potential, almost an A potential guy. And you know what? I think we made a pretty good choice. He's 72 overall to start. 18 years old. The contact is even at 65-65. The power versus righties is going to need some help, but 62 power versus lefties. The vision, discipline, and clutch all look pretty good. Durability is a little bit low there, and so isn't the fielding and speed, but Dennis Brown looks like a pretty solid prospect. I like what I'm seeing from him. 89 potential kind of sucks. I wish he was an A potential guy, but that's not the case. As we took all 18 and 19-year-olds here. Horacio Walker was the next guy. C potential. 71 overall to start. 73 is his actual potential. Doesn't look too bad. I think we missed on this draft pick here. I think he could become something in the future, but 73 potential wasn't good. Ramon Cardenas was our third pick, and his potential at 70 is not very good. He is young. He's got an opportunity. If he can adjust that walks per 9, he could be pretty solid. Ken Nomo, though, is the one guy who I think it's kind of a steal. 89 potential, 61 overall to start. The power versus lefties looks like it's definitely going to be there. The contact a little weak. Defensively, looks whatever. The speed is kind of like the same thing, whatever. And then 73 potential for David Cho, 61 potential for David Dobie. So I'm glad we made that trade to pick up a catching prospect. But it's Dennis Brown who headlines it, and Dennis Brown looks very good. So somebody to actually be excited about. 18-year-old prospect. Ken Nomo as well, somebody to also be excited about. I think he's got a little bit longer way to go than Dennis Brown, as Dennis Brown could be playing at the bigs, at age 19 if we see some good development. So Dudley Sierra, 59 overall to start, but at 20 years old, he has that 95 potential. Was somebody that I was interested in, but it's going to be a while before we see him, reach that potential. Maybe we missed on that one. Not really going to sweat it, though. Humberto Carmona was the guy that we missed out on. His potential is actually lower than Dennis Brown. It's an 87 potential, but he starts out at a 75 overall. The hitting is where he's going to be at his best. The speed's not really there. Vision, discipline, clutch looks pretty solid. The clutch is a little bit low. Yeah, Humberto Carmona is good. Don't get me wrong. Dennis Brown, I think he's better though. And then Josh Donovan, he has a B potential guy, and he's got the pop in his bat. He looks like a pretty good prospect. Howard Mays, though, we talked about him. He's the blue chip prospect. He looks really good. A potential, 69 overall to start. Really good prospect. Pirates got a steal there. Took him a while to see him go off the board. Leandro Beltran was somebody who I was definitely interested in. Would have been my second option had he still been there. Looks like a pretty solid prospect. Royce Lima is a B potential guy, and he looks pretty solid as well. He's fast, and he can hit for pretty good average, it's going to look like. Royce Lima, 83 potential. Good starting overall as well. Thomas Morrison would have been my first pick had he been available. 84 potential is not very good, though. 72 overall to start. You know what? He looks just like Fernando Guillen, to be completely honest with you. Woody McKenzie's got pop in his bat. Unfortunately, it just doesn't look like he's going to get much better. That's the problem with him. Still looks like a pretty good prospect nonetheless. Nicholas Rocker looks really good. Brooks Ono looks really good. Herb Saunders is another guy we were interested in. He got taken. He looks really good. Lance Ornelas was a guy that I really liked, but he was taken by the Tigers. And then other than that, I don't really think there's anybody else that I was really interested in. Kerry Hagan, 79 potential. Hideo Wannabe, 76 overall potential. But Dennis Brown, I think he's a really good prospect. I told you he was one of the more well-rounded guys in the class. The clutch at 68 is also exciting to see. He's well-rounded. 89 potential means that he's going to have an opportunity to be really good in the future. And at 72 overall to start, I think he'll have the potential to hit that. Speed isn't great. Defense is going to need some improvement. Kind of reason he is a second baseman. 5'8", 170. The power could be there in the future. It'll be there against lefties to start. I think Dennis Brown gives us an opportunity at second base to be really good in the future. And I think the reason that I took Dennis Brown is because obviously we do have Luis Rengifo that we just signed to an extension, but he can play third base. He can. He can play everywhere. So wherever we have a weakness, Luis Rengifo can play that. So I think it's a pretty good draft selection. Ken Nomo, somebody to be excited about as well with that power in the future. But the main guy is Dennis Brown, 18 years old. Looks to be a huge part of the future. I hope you guys are happy with the pick because I am. The rest of the picks, not so much, but this one right here with Dennis Brown and Ken Nomo gets me excited for the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.